The sun has just started to go down. You can already hear the first distant pops echoing somewhere across the neighborhood. And somewhere inside your home, your cat has completely and silently vanished. You check the living room, empty. You walk to the bedroom. You get down on your hands and knees and look under the bed, and there they are, pressed all the way into the far corner against the wall, shaking, pupils so wide they look completely solid black, breathing in short, fast, shallow bursts. You reach in slowly to comfort them. They claw at the air. Their whole body is trembling like a leaf. You leave the room because you don't know what else to do. And you spend the next 4 hours walking back and forth, checking on them every 20 minutes while the explosions outside get closer and louder and don't stop. By the time the last firework fades somewhere past midnight, your cat has not touched their food, has not touched their water. They finally let you near them sometime the following morning, and for the next 2 days they are not themselves. They stop using the litter box normally. They barely eat. They sit with their back turned and their eyes half closed, and you have no idea what you could have done differently. If that sounds like every single summer in your house, then I need you to understand something before tonight. What happened to your cat on that fireworks night was not them being overly sensitive. That was a genuine biological emergency unfolding inside their body, hour after hour, quietly causing real physical damage in ways that most cat owners never connect back to that night. And what I am about to show you is that the entire chain of events could have been dramatically interrupted by what you choose to do in the 60 minutes before it ever begins. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Mara Calloway, your neighborhood veterinarian, and welcome back to the channel. Every single summer, in the days immediately following major fireworks holidays, I see a predictable wave of the same cases walk through my clinic door. Cats that suddenly stopped eating. Cats in urinary distress with no infection present. Cats whose owners are genuinely confused about why their cat's behavior changed so dramatically after what seemed like just a loud night outside. And almost every single time, when we trace it back, the trail leads to a stress response that began the moment the first firework lit up the sky on a night when nobody in that household was biologically prepared. Today, we are doing a complete masterclass on feline noise anxiety. I am going to walk you through exactly what is happening inside your cat's brain and body when fireworks begin, why some of the most loving and well-intentioned things cat owners do in the moment of panic actually make the biological fear response significantly worse. And then I am going to give you my complete 60-minute pre-fireworks protocol, the exact same one I give to concerned cat owners in my clinic every single year before the holiday season. Grab a notebook because this information is specific, actionable, and you can apply it tonight. Let's start with something that genuinely surprises most people, and that is just how profoundly different your cat's sensory experience of a fireworks display truly is from yours. Human beings can hear sounds up to approximately 20,000 cycles per second. Your cat can hear sounds up to 64,000 cycles per second. They have 32 individual muscles controlling each ear, and they can rotate those ears independently up to 180 degrees, essentially functioning like precision acoustic radar dishes that point directly toward any sound source that triggers their attention. This is not a quirky biological fun fact. This is the reason that what you experience as a loud but manageable boom registers in your cat's auditory system at an entirely different magnitude of intensity. Here is an analogy I use with my clients that makes this real. Imagine you are standing in your backyard on a quiet summer evening listening to music through a small phone speaker at a comfortable volume. It sounds pleasant and easy. Now imagine someone placed a professional stadium concert amplifier directly next to your ear and turned it to full volume and played that exact same song. The enormous gap between those two experiences is much closer to what separates your auditory perception of fireworks from what your cat is processing in real time. But sound is only part of what is overwhelming them, and this is where most people stop thinking. Fireworks also produce infrasound, which are extremely low-frequency vibrations that travel through the ground, through concrete, through walls, through every structural layer of your home. Your cat feels those vibrations in their paw pads, through the fine sensory hairs distributed across their skin, and through the fluid inside their inner ear. They are simultaneously hearing an explosion and feeling a physical tremor travel through their entire body at the same time. On top of that, fireworks release sulfur-based chemical compounds into the air. Your cat's olfactory system is roughly 14 times more sensitive than yours. They smell the threat before you have even noticed the smoke. When you put all of this together, what you realize is that your cat during a fireworks display is experiencing a coordinated full-body sensory assault targeting their hearing, their vestibular system, the surface of their body, and their nose simultaneously, and every layer of that input is being processed by a brain that evolved over millions of years to interpret exactly this kind of overwhelming multisensory signal as one single thing: danger. The moment your cat's brain registers a threat of that scale, the hypothalamus fires an emergency signal to the adrenal glands, which instantly flood the bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline. Heart rate spikes sharply, blood pressure rises, pupils dilate to their maximum diameter to gather every available photon of light. Muscles receive a sudden surge of glucose to prepare for explosive movement. Every non-essential biological process, including digestion, immune response, and cellular repair, gets suspended completely so that every available resource in the body can serve one single priority: surviving the attack. This response is ancient and it is effective. In the wild, it kept your cat's ancestors alive. The problem is that the fight-or-flight response was designed for short, acute threats. A predator appears, the cat escapes, the danger passes, cortisol drops within minutes, and the body returns to baseline. But a fireworks display running for 3 or 4 hours with explosions every 30 seconds never gives your cat's nervous system that recovery window. Their cortisol stays elevated, their adrenaline keeps pumping, and research measuring stress hormones in cats following intense noise exposure has shown that cortisol levels can remain significantly elevated for hours after the noise has completely stopped. Your cat is still in a state of biological emergency at midnight when the neighborhood has gone quiet. Here is the damage this causes that most cat owners never connect back to a fireworks night. Feline idiopathic cystitis is a sudden, painful inflammation of the bladder wall with absolutely no bacterial cause. It produces symptoms nearly identical to a urinary tract infection: straining in the litter box, crying during urination, producing only small drops. But when cultures come back negative, there is no infection present at all. It is triggered almost entirely by acute cortisol overload. Veterinary clinics see a measurable, predictable spike in these cases in the 3 to 5 days following major fireworks holidays every single year without exception. If your cat has ever developed what appeared to be a sudden urinary problem after a particularly stressful event, the stress itself was almost certainly the biological trigger. Chronically elevated cortisol also directly suppresses immune function. White blood cell activity declines, upper respiratory infections, viral reactivation, and inflammatory flares become more likely. Appetite is disrupted, sleep is disturbed, and in cats who experience this cycle repeatedly across multiple fireworks seasons without any intervention, the cumulative impact on their nervous system can produce lasting behavioral changes and a chronically lowered stress threshold that makes them more reactive to ordinary triggers long after the holiday has passed. I am not telling you this to create panic. I am telling you this because every single one of these consequences is largely preventable with one simple shift in thinking. The 60 minutes before fireworks begin is where almost all of that prevention happens. Let me build your complete protocol step by step. The first and most important thing you are going to do is create what I call a safe den. Here is the biology that makes this work. When a cat is under threat, the drive toward an enclosed, dark, compressed space is not random or quirky behavior. It is a hardwired survival instinct. Reducing exposed surface area limits incoming sensory input and communicates at a deep neurological level that the animal is concealed and therefore safer. When your cat presses themselves into the farthest corner under the bed during fireworks, they are not being irrational. They are executing their most fundamental survival program. Your job is to create a better version of that space before the panic begins. Take a cardboard box or a covered cat carrier and line it with your cat's favorite blanket. If you have a worn piece of clothing, something with your own familiar scent on it, place it inside as well. Set this den up in the most interior room of your home, away from every exterior wall and window. Interior rooms naturally buffer incoming sound by a meaningful additional margin compared to rooms on the outer edge of the house. Drape an extra heavy blanket over the outside of the box as well. That additional physical layer absorbs both sound and light. The timing on this is critical. This den needs to be in place at least an hour before fireworks begin. A cat whose cortisol is already spiking will not investigate a new space, but a cat that has had a full hour to sniff the den, explore it voluntarily, and rest inside it before the noise begins is a completely different story. The second step involves synthetic feline facial pheromones, and I want you to understand the mechanism because it is genuinely remarkable. When your cat rubs their cheek or forehead along the corner of your sofa or the leg of your chair, they are depositing a precise chemical compound from specialized facial glands. That chemical message says, in the language of feline biology, I have investigated this space, it is familiar, it is safe, there is no active threat here. Scientists have isolated and synthetically replicated those exact compounds. When you apply a synthetic pheromone product to the bedding in your cat's den or plug a diffuser into the room, those compounds reach a specialized structure inside your cat's palate called the vomeronasal organ. That organ sends calming signals directly to the limbic system of the brain, the seat of emotional processing and the origin of the fear response, bypassing higher cortical processing entirely. Multiple peer-reviewed studies have confirmed that synthetic feline facial pheromones significantly reduce hiding duration, stress vocalization, and elimination outside the litter box in cats exposed to stressful stimuli, including noise events. Apply the pheromone product to the den bedding at least 20 minutes before your cat enters, so the carrier in the spray has time to fully evaporate and only the active compound remains. The third step is sound and light management throughout the entire home. Close every window, draw every curtain, and blind fully closed. Pull interior doors shut between rooms. These steps together meaningfully reduce both the acoustic volume of incoming fireworks and the disorienting visual stimulation of the flashes. Then place a speaker near your cat's den and begin playing audio specifically composed for feline auditory comfort. Research into auditory enrichment for cats has found that species-appropriate music, recordings built around frequency ranges and tempos that match feline vocalizations and natural acoustic environments, produces measurable reductions in stress behaviors. These recordings are widely available on major streaming platforms. A steady box fan near the den also provides consistent low-frequency masking noise that interrupts the silence and explosion cycle your cat's nervous system finds so destabilizing. The fourth step is a meal timed precisely for nervous system support. Serve your cat their full regular meal approximately 45 minutes before fireworks are expected to begin. When food enters the digestive tract, the vagus nerve activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the biological counterpart to fight or flight. A cat that has just eaten a satisfying meal has an actively engaged parasympathetic state. Their body is already tilting toward digestion, warmth, and rest rather than alarm. A hungry cat entering a loud, overwhelming event has none of that buffer working in their favor. The fifth step involves natural calming supplements, and this is something I am asked about very frequently in my clinic. L-theanine is an amino acid found naturally in green tea leaves. When administered to cats approximately 30 to 60 minutes before a stressful event, it promotes the production of GABA and serotonin in the brain, two neurotransmitters that regulate calm and reduce anxiety arousal without causing sedation. Several studies examining L-theanine-based calming supplements formulated specifically for cats have found meaningful reductions in anxiety markers during stressful events, including noise exposure. Products containing this compound designed specifically for cats are available through veterinarians and reputable pet supply retailers. Melatonin is another naturally occurring compound that some veterinarians recommend for noise anxiety support in cats, as it assists with calm sleep-wake regulation and may help blunt the sharp cortisol response to sudden loud sounds. I always recommend consulting your veterinarian before starting any supplement, particularly for cats managing any underlying health condition or taking other medications. The critical point here is timing. These supplements need to be given 30 to 60 minutes before the stressor to allow adequate absorption. Waiting until your cat is already in full panic and then trying to give them something is too late. The window has already closed. Now I have to tell you about a mistake that comes entirely from love, because almost every caring cat owner makes it. When a cat is pressed into their hiding spot and shaking during fireworks, the urge to go to them, reach in, pick them up, hold them, stroke them, and speak to them in soothing tones feels like exactly the right thing to do. But from an animal behavior standpoint, forced handling during an active fear response elevates cortisol further, not less. More critically, when a normally calm social partner begins moving urgently toward the hiding place, crouching low and making repeated physical contact during an ongoing threat, the cat's brain reads that behavioral pattern not as resolution of danger, but as investigation of it. Your worry and your urgency communicates itself directly to their nervous system. The most powerful calming signal you can give your cat during a fireworks display is to sit in the same room, move at normal speed, speak at normal volume, and behave as though the evening is entirely routine. Your regulated nervous system regulates theirs more effectively than any amount of well-intentioned handling. For cats with a documented history of severe noise phobia, cats that escape the home during fireworks, cats that injure themselves trying to flee, cats that go into urinary crisis every single year following fireworks nights, please have a conversation with your veterinarian several weeks before the holiday season about prescription anxiety management options. Medications such as gabapentin have strong published research support for reducing fear responses to noise events in cats. When dosed appropriately by your vet for this specific purpose, these options produce calm and comfort without heavy sedation. Your vet can assess your individual cat's health history, weight, and any underlying conditions and calibrate an appropriate approach. This is not a conversation to have the night before. Schedule that appointment now. In the day following a major fireworks night, watch for these signs that your cat's stress response may have crossed into a physical consequence that requires veterinary attention. Straining in the litter box or avoiding it entirely, producing only very small amounts of urine or vocalizing during urination, complete food refusal lasting more than 24 hours, hiding that persists well into the following day, or any sign of difficulty breathing. Any one of these warrants a call to your veterinarian rather than a wait-and-see approach. Here is your complete protocol in one place. 1 hour before fireworks begin, create and place the enclosed den in an interior room using familiar scented bedding. Apply synthetic pheromones to the bedding and allow 20 minutes for the product to fully activate. Close all windows, curtains, and interior doors throughout the home. Begin playing feline-specific calming audio near the den. Administer any vet-approved calming supplement at the correct timing window. Serve the full regular meal 45 minutes before fireworks begin. Then sit calmly in or near the room, behave completely normally, and allow your cat to move to their safe space entirely on their own terms. Cats do not experience the world the way we do. What we see as a celebration, their nervous system registers as a survival emergency. But when we understand the biology, we stop trying to manage the fear after it has already taken hold and start building the conditions that prevent it from escalating in the first place. 60 minutes of deliberate preparation before a fireworks night can be the difference between a cat that hides in terror for hours and a cat that quietly retreats to their den and rides out the noise with their nervous system intact. That is one of the greatest gifts you can give them. I want to know from you, has your cat ever shown fear or stress signs during fireworks or thunderstorms? And what have you noticed in the days afterward? Leave a comment below. I read as many as I can, and this community is full of experienced cat owners who have a lot to offer each other. If this protocol gave you a specific plan you can use tonight, please hit that like button. It helps this information reach other cat owners who genuinely need it right now before the season. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss our deep dives into feline health. And please share this video with any cat parent you know who is heading into a fireworks weekend unprepared. Give your cat a calm, gentle chin scratch from me tonight. Stay observant, stay steady, and I will see you in the very next video.